Hello! So some very interesting things have happened in the last 24 hours, and that we've got some more chapter tactics, which is really cool. Just sort of pop on and talk about them for a little bit, and see which one I think is the best. I'm going into this quite raw, and I've seen quite a few of them. There's a few that I've just gotten in this little text document that I've never seen before, so let's just go over them and see which one is the best, shall we? Alright, so number one, obviously, Poster Boys, Ultramarines. So, add one to the leadership characteristic of models with this tactic. Units with this tactic can shoot in a turn in which they fell back, but if they do, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, in the shooting phase of that turn, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Essentially, not much has changed with the Ultramarines. This is I would call this one a very fluffy chapter tactic, to be honest with you. It basically means what it says on the tin. You know, your Ultramarines can fall back from combat and can carry on firing. What is powerful about this is that take it away from Primaris Marines, things like that, but Devastators and other units like that, you can really do a lot of damage with this. If you're caught in combat and somehow your Devastators survive, or somehow some of your heavy firepower units survive, you know, they can slowly, you know, as a war of attrition, march backwards away from combat and still lay down firepower. That's extremely powerful. Not the most powerful that we're going to see, but definitely one that's very useful as a codex discipline. By the way, as we're going through these, there may be more out there. If there is, definitely tell me and I'll go and find them. And this is just my opinion, by the way, so it's not like you know, it's not be all end all. So don't be worried if I pan one, it just means that I'm not looking at it in a very good light at the moment. And of course, Grey Knights don't get one. I mean, why would we, you know? White Scars, Lightning Assault. Okay, units with this tactic can charge in a turn in which they advanced or fell back. Biker models with this tactic do not suffer the penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons, or for advancing and firing assault weapons. I'm not going to lie, this is probably my favourite. Because I am somebody who plays the game. I like fast, in-your-face style of combat. That's how I play the game. I'm currently working on my unique chapter tactics, and they are very similar to these, but it's to do with deep striking instead. But anyway, any units with this tactic can charge in a turn in which they advanced or fell back. That's amazing. You know, if you're in a bike. Basically all of your White Scars should be on bikes, let's be honest. So if you have a bike squad with close combat weapons, let's say you go forward 12 inches, you then advance and then charge. That's amazing. That is amazing. That you can cover so much of the battlefield with that, and it just basically makes the White Scars act like White Scars, as well as this being an incredibly powerful tactic. By the way, these are all free, and so anyone saying that Grey Knight shouldn't get a points reduction, yes, they should, because we don't even have a really good chapter tactic. You know, our chapter tactic, I swear it's to do with demon hunting, which is useless against 99% of all opponents. Or is it Brotherhood of Psykers? No, it's not Brotherhood of Psykers. I will look into it. I've not played in 4 months, so I've forgotten a few things. But the second part of this, biker models with this tactic do not suffer a penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons. Again, do they need that? They can already cover basically the entire battlefield in a turn and charge. Do they need a rule that lets them, you know, move and fire heavy weapons like completely normally? And do they need a rule in which they can advance and fire assault weapons? I mean, this just makes the White Scars incredibly powerful, incredibly hard hitting. It makes me actually want to collect a White Scars army. But that's exactly why these rules are coming out, which is why I'm not going to do it. Iron Hands, the flesh is weak. When a model with this tactic would lose a wound, roll 1d6. On a 6, that wound is not lost. When resolving an Overwatch attack made by a model with this tactic, a hit roll of 5 or 6 scores a hit. In addition, models with this tactic that have a damage table are considered to have double the number of wounds remaining for the purpose of determining what row to use on that damage table. That's great. So, not much has changed in the first half of this set of rules. The second half, though, you know, the vehicles of the Iron Hands are incredibly durable now. You can do so many things with the Iron Hands. I can see Iron Hands, you know, Rhino spam and tank spam coming in, because that is just going to be an unkillable wall of metal that you can just hurl at the enemy and not you know, not have to worry about certain things. Storm Ravens as well. Iron Hand Storm Ravens are going to be so tough to take down out of the sky. I can imagine a lot of people using things like that. So again, Iron Hands, they're going to act like Iron Hands, but in doing so, they're also automatically now one of the best armies you can actually get if you make your army correctly. That and being able to just shrug off wounds is incredibly good. Let's be honest. Imperial Fists. I mean, when we're looking back, you know, the actual Ultramarines chapter tactic seems very underwhelming, considering the 2 rules that came after it. Do you not think? They seem very underwhelming to me, considering. But anyway, Imperial Fist, Siege Masters. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon by a model with this tactic, the target does not receive the benefit of cover or to its saving throw. Okay, so no one gets cover. If that attack was made with a bolt weapon, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 scores 1 additional hit. That's cool. Very fluffy again. But once again, it's not that great. I mean, yeah, cover in 140,000 now is not huge. You know, it was simplified a lot since 7th edition into 8th, and you know, cover, especially in my games, never really came into it, and I played a lot of games in 8th. It's when I was working for the company was when 8th came out, so basically people in our store, we were constantly playing games of 8th behind closed doors to get used to it, and there was so much firepower in the game that that is as such a high value in terms of armor piercing that it, yeah. The cover never really came into it. Cover never ever really came into it. So I've always thought that cover should have a minus to hit rather than a minus to the saving throw, but that's just me. It would mean that, you know, obviously when you're aiming your gun down the barrel, somebody's behind cover, you've got a bigger chance of missing them than you do if it hits their armor. But you know, that's just me. So yeah, again, Imperial Fists and Ultramarines, the 2 big poster boys. Ultramarines more so, definitely, but the 2 big poster boys of the Space Marines, definitely kind of underwhelming with their roles, to be honest, with their chapter tactics, to be honest with you. But you know, saying that, if you have an Imperial Fist army that is all shooting, I guess this is going to be really helpful. But nothing really changes for the Imperial Fist that much. Crimson Fists, no matter the odds. So when resolving an attack made by a model with this tactic against a unit that contains at least 5 or more models, then that model's unit add 1 to the hit roll. For the purposes of this tactic, a vehicle model with this tactic counts as 5 models. In addition, when resolving an attack made without a bolt weapon by a model with this tactic, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores 1 additional hit. Okay, that's cool. So basically means that Crimson Fists are really good at taking on mobs. Mobs and, you know, anyone who outnumbers them by a lot, and they are Space Marines, so people should be outnumbering them a lot. Crimson Fists are known as Orc Killers, and so this tactic would be extremely helpful against Orcs. But unlike Grey Knights, they're not put in that mold of this tactic only works against Orcs and no one else will screw you. This tactic works against a lot of units in the game and a lot of other forces in the game, and especially characters as well. You know, if a character goes into a unit of 5 Terminators, then you know they're going to add 1 to all their hit rolls. It's going to be really good. Vehicles also, Crimson Fists are going to be really good at taking down vehicles, especially if they have like I can imagine a character running into a vehicle, getting another hit. That's just great. Yeah, cool. In addition, when resolving an attack made with a bolt weapon by a model with this tactic. Okay, so basically it's essentially essentially it's very similar to the Imperial Fist roll again. So this is why I'm saying that the Imperial Fists are very underwhelming, is that I just think the other half of the Crimson Fist rules are much better, and they get the same the bolt weapon rules that the Imperial Fist get. So yeah, Yeah, yeah. I do like the Crimson Fists. White Scars definitely standing out to me right now, to be honest with you. Raven Guard. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon against a unit with this tactic by a model that is more than 12 inches away, that unit is treated as having the benefit of cover to its saving throw. And if that unit is not a vehicle and is entirely on or within a terrain feature, subtract 1 from the hit roll. That's bollocks. That's really bad. So if somebody's more than 12 inches away, then you get cover no matter what. Okay, that's fine. But the unit is treated as having the benefit of cover, you know, blah, blah. And if the unit is not a vehicle and is entirely on or within it... See, there's lots of conditional things with Raven Guard. That's rubbish. That's terrible. How do these rules sometimes make it past Q&A? Like, how do they do that? This is awful. This is such a step down. The Raven Guard have been kicked squarely in the balls. That is so circumstantial. Like for the vehicles, and sorry, for being in a terrain feature and things. Because I know what it's trying to say, that the Raven Guard are like quite slippery, and they're using the shadows and they're jumping around people as they're trying to hit them in cover. But my god, man, there's got to be a better way of doing stealth than this. That's awful. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's useful, I guess. But compared to the others, you know, this is easily the weakest. Easily the weakest. When resolving an attack made with the ranged weapon against the unit with this tactic by a model that's more than 12 inches away. Yeah, again, circumstantial. More than 12 inches away. Okay, fair enough. So, a last cannon has a -1 to hit against Raven Guard. Okay, cool. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing how this benefits at all. Okay, -1 to hit. That's fine. But... Ay. Even then, it's just cover. It's just cover. It's not a minus to hit. It's just cover. That's the thing. If it was minus to hit, I'd say that brings it up to standard. That brings it up to par. There's no reason why the Raven Guard should have just cover for people that are more than 12 inches away. It should be minus to hit. It should be minus to, at least minus to hit. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry, Raven Guard players. That is that's a slap in the face. That is an absolute slap in the face. Alright. Let's carry on, shall we? Salamanders. Okay. When a unit with this tactic fires Overwatch or is chosen to shoot or fight with, you can re-roll a single hit roll and you can re-roll a single wound roll. Okay, yeah. When resolving an attack made with a weapon that has an arm penetration characteristic of -1 against the unit with this tactic, that weapon is treated as having arm penetration of arm characteristic of 0. Okay, cool. Doesn't affect many of the... Again, that's really circumstantial, the second part there. I mean, there are lots of -1 weaponry in the game, but... you know, it's not great. It's fine. You know, thank you for giving it to the Salamanders for free. But compared to things like the White Scars, like, who is writing the White Scars? Seriously. This was, yeah, armor penetration -1 against the unit with this tactic. Then a weapon treated as only. Alright, well, fine, I guess. I mean, that's great. I think the first part of this is more interesting. When a unit with this tactic fires Overwatch or is chosen to shoot or fight with, you can re-roll a single hit roll and you can re-roll a single wound roll. That's fine. I mean, it's not marvelous, but it's something. And again, they're trying to say that you have Master Forge weaponry and things like that. But to be honest with you, again, again, this could be beefed up. This could be beefed up. I'm afraid they're not quite as bad as the Raven Guard, but I'm not seeing the big hoo-ha about these Salamanders rules. I'm not. It's just it's handy and it's great to have for free, I suppose. But compared to other tactics and compared to some of the weaponry that is in the game at the moment, this is not that good. Yeah, I'm re-rolling one single hit roll and one single wound roll. No, I would rewrite that as having you get to select one unit per turn and they get to re-roll D3 rolls, right, in that turn, no matter what they are.
That's what I would do, because that's their equipment. You know, the really good Master Forge equipment of the Salamanders, you know, turning its head. And I would also say, you know, and I would keep the armor penetration how it is, to be honest with you. You know, it's fine. As long as there's something else more powerful than that. But, you know, one unit, one single roll, and another single roll? Nah, no, sorry. Not for me. Not for me. So from all that, what are you most impressed with? I have to say, White Scars for me are looking incredibly powerful. That's looking good. That is looking very good. That and the Iron Hands. White Scars and Iron Hands are looking very good. Ultramarines and Imperial Fists, you know, they're handy. You know, handy and fluffy rules. Okay, it's fine. You know, the Crimson Fist rules are pretty decent. Especially, you know, I love the anti-mob rules that they have. That's really good, really fluffy. But Raven Guard and Salamanders, what have you done, GW? Like what is going on there? That's ridiculous. If any of you have any other opinions about that, or you just think I'm wrong, please tell me and talk to me about it, because I'm shocked by that. That's terrible. So those two rules are, especially the Raven Guard. You know, Salamanders, it's a bit underpowered, but Raven Guard, Jesus. But at least you get chapter tactics, unlike Grey Knights. I mean, you know, that's what it is. So I'm very impressed with White Scars, very impressed with Iron Hands, Crimson Fists, and Imperial Fists, and I would actually put the Crimson Fist just below the White Scars and Iron Hands. So they're the top tier, just below Crimson Fists, pretty good. Just below them is the Ultramarines and Imperial Fists, you know, middling the road, you know, handy rules, not nothing too outstanding. And then below them, you have the Salamanders, which is, you know, we're getting into it's a bit underpowered, you know, for what the Salamanders are supposed to be able to do in the lore. I mean, why not do something to do with flame weaponry for the Salamanders? Yeah, well, why not give their flame weaponry insane AP? You know? Do something more interesting. That's not interesting. This is not interesting. You know, Salamanders have really good mastercrafted weaponry. Okay, how about make their flamers, you know, really tough, really high AP? And how about if Salamander's flamers fire at the same target, its AP, the AP goes up by the amount of Salamanders that are firing at the same target. How about that? That's cool. That means if you're skillful enough to get 4 Salamander's flamer units firing at one thing, you get 4 AP on your flamers. That's great. You know, why not have that in there along with, you know, you get your, you know, anything that's 1 AP goes to 0. That would be fine. That would be great. But just picking one dice and what? No, that's ridiculous. And the Raven Guard itself, you know, bottom tier. You know, bottom bitches, I'm afraid. That is terrible. You know, getting a cover save if people are more than 12 inches away, well, whoop-de-doo. You know, everyone gets a cover save if you've got pretty good. Basically, what you get as Raven Guard, you get something that other people get just by being a decent player, because every single tabletop will have terrain on it. And by the way, if Imperial Fists fire at you when you're Raven Guard, does that strip away that? It does, doesn't it? It does. So there are trap tactics out here that basically overtly trump the Raven Guard's chapter tactics. Just take it away straight away, because the Raven Guard's chapter tactic, it just acts as a normal cover save. So if an Imperial Fist fires at you, you don't get your chapter tactic. Anything that ignores cover basically ignores your chapter tactic. Great. Sorry, Raven Guard players. I'm very annoyed for you. But I'm a Grey Knight player, so I don't have that much sympathy. But thanks for watching. What did you think of the rules? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll speak to you next time.